Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast. It is November 18th. Oh, God, it's November 18th of 2021, and we are back again to talk about all things hockey. I am joined alongside one Mr. Endo Mills.
Good morning, or afternoon, or evening. Hello.
Whenever you're listening to this show. And, of course, Sin is back here as well.
Yes.
Sin, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, just doing some things.
Just hanging in there. Just hanging in there. Everything's fine.
Chilling.
Hey, you know, it's a good day for a hockey podcast because thankfully we have a lot to talk about, but not much to talk about at the same time because, I mean, we recorded our last show on Monday. There were a grand total of 2 games that night. And then Wednesday night, there was a grand total of 3 games. So shout out to Tuesday. You're going to get all the attention in the world. But when it comes to attention and losing your voice, when it comes to attention and losing your voice,
What was that?
is that dramatic enough?
He's getting hit. That's straight up a sound clip from Oblivion when you hit a Nord.
Stop right there.
Straight up, no, it's like the most. It's horrible, but it's hilarious, and that's what's so good.
Unused sound clip 18.
But that's Tougie right there. Please continue.
Speaking of attention, make sure you give yourself the proper amount of attention. We want to shout out our lovely sponsor of the podcast, of course, Manscaped. You know the deal at this point if you have listened to this show. Code Tougie at checkout, 20% off your order, free worldwide shipping. Doesn't matter where you are, if you're in some far-off land from Skyrim that I can't name because I haven't played that game in years, or anywhere else. Sin, give me a city name, a town name.
Leowin.
Yeah, that place. Or if you're in Detroit, I don't know. Hey, wherever. Between Layaway and Detroit, whatever the hell Sin said.
Lay it away. Lay it away. Guess what?
Use code Tougie at checkout. Dude, the winter sales are coming up. You can't miss out on these great deals. Again, head over to Manscaped. Support them like they support us.
Yeah, this time.
And now.
This time.
No, go ahead.
This time you can have shit in Detroit. There you go. Before it's usually you can't have shit in Detroit. You can have shit now. You can have it delivered to you. Manscaped and shit. Manscaped.com. Use promo code Tougie, 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Manscaped, your boss will thank you. And we thank Manscaped for staying with this podcast. Tougie, back to you.
And we thank all of you for listening to this podcast, especially those of you, how's this for a segue? Especially those of you that sent in some viewer questions this week. Because as I mentioned, not much to talk about. So we get to work in some viewer questions. And I'm very excited about this because there are some doozies. And we start off with friend of the show, one Mr. Flopfish. That is twitch.tv/flopfish, spelled the way you'd expect it to be spelled. Now, we'll be talking about the Vancouver Canucks a little bit later on, but as a Canucks fan, or at least he might not want to be anymore, he does ask this Canucks-related question. Would the Canucks penalty kill be better or worse if the other team got to choose the players they had to start the penalty kill with? And given that the Canucks have a bottom 3 penalty kill, if I am not mistaken, I believe it was alongside Arizona and Winnipeg, which, what the hell? Yeah, that was the next question, actually. It was from AJ saying, your thoughts on the Canucks, Jets, and Coyotes having the worst 3 PKs. Number 1, Winnipeg's good, so that's surprising. The other 2 aren't surprising. That pretty much answers that question. I don't think the Canucks could be worse. I don't think it could be. And as we'll get into a little bit later on, you know, it's probably been the worst it's been in Vancouver in a very, very, very long time. But the idea of the team going on the power play, you approach their head coach and say, okay, here's this team's first PK and their second PK. You get to pick which one they start with. Let's do that. Out of all the gimmicky shit the NHL's done in the past, I'm down for that. Let it be a real coach's advantage. Or not. It might be the dumbest idea I've ever heard of, but I kind of like it. I don't know.
Yeah, if I was on the other team, I would just Yeah, I honestly, like I said, I think their penalty kill would be the same, because if I was on the other team, I'd just say, yeah, send out whatever you're doing right now. We want to play against that, because bottom 3 is not that great. So honestly, yeah, if the other team was forced to choose new players, it'd probably be better, because quite simply, it can't really get a whole lot worse. Unless you're allowed to like just make Demko sit on the bench. Is it all the personnel or just which unit? Because if it's all the personnel, make them go 5 skaters, no goaltender.
Yeah, no, makes sense. I mean, Demko is still the one bright spot to talk about.
Oh, alas,
that
poor
team.
Demko.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
I think for this one, I would, I'd make, I'd make them put their power play like 4 defensemen, and then their goalies taking the face-off draws. Just do that.
I mean, technically, the question didn't say you couldn't do that.
Yeah. I mean, like, therefore, like, the goalie can't pass half, right? So, if it's in the Canucks zone, that's an automatic penalty. 4-on-4, instantly solved, right there, perfect.
Wait, no, if it's in the Canucks zone, you mean the other team's zone?
If it's in the Canucks, because the goalie can't,
and then
pass
it would
half.
go down to a 5-on-3.
No, because they're on the penalty kill. The Canucks are on the penalty kill. The other team is on the power play, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
So
but if the face-off's in the Canucks zone, the goalie can be there. He can't pass the halfway point.
Yeah, no, he's taking the draw.
Yeah,
He's forced center.
Where'd the automatic penalty come from?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Like if the
goalie
cross, he's confused. If he was in the offensive zone, yeah, he'd get a penalty because he's technically crossed the red line. Anyway,
this next question comes from John.
This is stupid. What are we doing?
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it. This next question comes from John. With today being the 20th anniversary of the GameCube.
Pardon me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're old as fuck.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go die. Thanks.
Well, we just hit 20 years of the OG Xbox, and now we've hit 20 years of the GameCube.
I wonder if they're doing a 20-year Morrowind sale. Ooh.
Oh, God, here's hoping. John did ask, what is your favorite GameCube game? And obviously, you can name multiple if you want. I mean, like, obviously, there are going to be certain GameCube games that stick out to everybody, right? For the most part. Whether it be, I mean, I imagine most people's experience, a lot of people's experience, maybe not most, but, like, even if you go for, like, the big ones of, like, Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime, obviously, Smash Bros. Is up there, like, it was a really goddamn good console. For me, the ones that stick out, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, fantastic game. It was okay for sports games. I mean, I got to be honest, the WrestleMania 18 and 19 stand out for me as well, just because obviously it's like I was, God, how old was I? 10, 11 when those games came out, so it makes sense. But the GameCube was a goddamn fantastic console, and Sin, I agree, now that I really think about how many great games it had and how much I played it, even though I never owned it.
Me neither.
That is the one console that I've never owned,
Same.
But one of my friends in the neighborhood had it, so I could just go over there and play it, so it worked out. I need to change that. I need to actually buy a GameCube and kind of build up that collection one of these days, but yeah, I don't know. Those are some that stood out for me.
Endo, did you play any GameCube games when you were in diapers?
Thank you. I actually do have my GameCube here. I think it's actually behind me. I think right now in there should be my copy of NHL 06, which is the greatest NHL game to be made. You can fight me on that. You know once? You know once? Yeah, this game started.
I've been making this argument for so long since they said we got this new game mode. I'm like, pardon me?
No, it's just online now.
Yeah.
It's just online now. It's so dumb.
It's like the idea of free-for-all, right?
Yeah.
Like NHL 05 and 04, I think 04 too, but definitely 05 had the free-for-all mode. And it's like, oh, they brought it back, and it's like, cool, that's basically, like you mentioned, ones or a modified version. Marketing.
Yeah, all
marketing.
Also, my other favorite game that I had there was Super Mario Strikers. That was the launch title for the console. I remember getting that. God, I was like almost like 7 or 8 when I got my GameCube. Y'all are old. No, but it's a great console. I remember playing that. I played Street Hoops, which was like a really, really terrible version of basketball.
I like Street Poops better.
Street Poops, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Set
it
in
played
San
like.
Francisco, street poops.
Played a lot of.
It was the sequel to Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
I played the crap out of Sonic Riders. Let me see what else I did play. NBA Street V3, FIFA Street. I didn't really get to play into the Mario games on there, mostly besides Mario Strikers and Mario Party. Besides that, that's really all I played when I was younger. I played some other stuff like Star Fox. I could go on for hours about the games that I played, but honestly, great console. Definitely changed the generation. And it's funny how we have this topic about it when Nintendo just announced that there's a new Smash tournament featuring Melee. Like 20 years. And now they get a thing for them. That's like nuts.
Shows the longevity of that particular game, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's something that Nintendo's really done well, is keep alive their universe. There's no other like company out there who has a universe that's just that like long lived. They did so well at making good replayable games. They may not be like the best games on the planet, have the best graphics, but they unlocked the secret to good games. I don't give a fuck if they have bad, like, you know, good graphics. They're fun. You can play them with friends, and you can play them by yourself, and mostly they're replayable. So for me, the two games I played the most was NHL 06. That was one of the big ones. A lot of Dynasty mode, as it was called back then. Every single line, playmaker, sniper, grinder, you get all that chemistry boost. Yeah, by the way, chemistry is not new, kids. Okay, chemistry
that wasn't new
not
either.
new. Don't let them. Don't let them.
They're like, hey,
fool you.
we took away chemistry, but now you get phones at deadline day, and then they took that away too.
God.
And then they brought back trade deadline.
So yeah, NHL 06, and then I played a shit ton of Super Smash Melee. Those are the two games that I really, really remember. Honestly, I had a lot more nostalgic experiences with N64, which was like the generation before that, as kind of makes sense as I'm older than both of you. But yeah, I'm just going to talk about some of those games because I only listed two. Endo listed about 1,500. So Star Fox 64, incredible. And also this beauty, Battle Tanks. And if you haven't played Battle Tanks for N64, if you haven't played Queen Lord.
I thought you were going to say Battletoads.
Battletoads.
No, I never played that.
God.
No, Battle Tanks, and then man, what else for N64, dude? It was like
Everything.
Yeah, it was so
a
good.
lot.
Like,
I mean, again, I did very much grow up with that console, despite you being a little bit older than me. But we could sit here and wax poetic about.
I remember when I got it for Christmas, dude. Oh, I got that like the see-through green one with Donkey Kong, and like, yeah, it was.
And the expansion pack and the plug-in that actually played.
Yeah, what the fuck was up with that? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I never understood that as a kid either.
Oh, we don't have enough power.
I remember-
at launch.
I borrowed a copy of Donkey Kong 64,
And you
but they
couldn't
didn't
play
give
it?
me the
Yeah.
adapter parts, so you couldn't even play it.
That shit's hard
Oh, it
to
was
get
the
out.
worst.
Holy! I remember going to my cousin's place, just trying to take it out. He's like, "Don't touch it." And I'm like, "Okay, fine."
God damn. Army Men too. Played a lot
Oh
of that.
man, Army Man.
That was good too.
Sarge's
many good
It
Heroes.
was really good too. Just the concept of like, hey, let's have the plastic toy army men, but they have their own video game.
And my favorite Mario Party, we played it with the cousins all the time. Mario Party 2. That one, fucking elite. Yes, Mario Party 2 is the best one.
Yeah.
That's
Granted,
why I'm enjoying Mario Party Superstars so much right now.
And
Is
obviously
because
Mario
the
Kart.
vast majority of games from Mario Party 2 are in that particular one. And that is the Mario Party of all Mario Parties.
Yeah, and of course,
Hands
Mario
down.
Kart 64, in my opinion, is the Mario Kart of all Mario Karts. It might just be because that's what I started on and grew up with, but you know,
No,
it's
I agree.
great.
I agree. All right, I'll cut us off there
Yeah,
because I think
we're
we
gonna
could
keep-
have
yeah,
an
we can
entire
keep going.
podcast about
Yes.
the 64 and the GameCube. Bottom line is, even if Nintendo, they don't drop their prices on any games fucking ever, you know, for the most part, they're going to hold up.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of stuff from 20 plus years ago now is, it still holds up incredibly well. Unlike this, though, and I think that's a good kind of transition, Braden asked the question, if you could say one nice thing about your rival, what would it be? And I make that transition because it's, some things hold up, others don't. Obviously, 20 years ago, the Bruins' main rival is the Montreal Canadiens. I don't know who would be considered the Bruins' biggest rival right now to even answer this question. I think, obviously, you could say it's always going to be the Habs. but I really don't feel like the Bruins-Habs rivalry has been all that heated since the Habs bounced the Bruins in the playoffs 6 years ago.
I would
and
honestly-
Milan Lucic threatened to kill Dale Weiss in the handshake line.
Nice.
Like that happened, by the way.
I remember that.
That's the last time anything really happened between the Bruins and the Habs, and that was a long time ago. That might have when the hell was that? Was it 2014.
Yeah,
I thought
Iginla
so.
was there,
That
wasn't
was
he?
7 years ago.
Yeah, Iginla was there at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was because he
was chasing a
showed
cup.
up a year later than he should have. Had he originally showed up, he would have gotten a chance in the cup final.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. Oh God, hold on one second. Why is Evander Kane trending on Twitter?
Oh,
no.
no.
Oh boy.
Oh, he's trending because Antonio Brown of the Tampa Bay Bucks also turned in a fake vaccination card.
God
Okay.
fucking damn it.
Of course he did.
Anyway,
God!
we'll leave that. We'll leave that there. I thought maybe something actually happened with Evander Kane, but people are calling it that AB pulled an Evander Kane. So there you go. There's your legacy.
Hey, look, hockey's relevant again. This is not what we wanted by press. God.
Fair. I feel like you could say the Leafs are maybe
I was going to say that. Yeah.
biggest rival, but also in a way, no offense, isn't much of a rivalry. Like, I don't think Leafs fans view it as a rivalry more as they just view it as Big Brother dunking their head in the toilet.
I think it's a rivalry on the sole purpose that in the last few years, you faced each other numerous times in the playoffs, and it's always gone the distance most of the time, and it's always been bloody, so to speak, and it's always been a lot of heat between. I don't know. I guess that's how I view it. Like, there's a point in time where the Kings were the Sharks' biggest rivals. There's a point in time where the Ducks were the Sharks' biggest rivals. Like, it kind of fluctuates, and it just, in my opinion, matters on how much you've played in the playoffs. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I brought up Toronto because it's kind of the inverse where you could also argue Tampa, but that rivalry's been incredibly one-sided with Tampa getting the better of Boston at every turn. So I really don't know who I would put as the Bruins' biggest rival because, I mean, not that a rivalry has to be a back and forth. It can be one side getting the better of the other to make those wins that the team that normally gets pooped on, makes those wins mean that much more. But the Leafs really haven't beat the Bruins like they have in the regular season, but as Endo will tell you, he doesn't give a shit.
Yep.
And, the Bruins have beaten the Lightning in the regular season, but come playoff times, if those two teams meet, Tampa has their number. So I don't know. If it were to be Montreal, to answer the question, the nicest thing I could say about Montreal is, the nicest thing.
This is hurting you a lot.
Your GM has very big biceps.
Yeah.
All right, Sid, you go first.
All right. Well, clearly we all know who the Sharks' biggest rival is.
Themselves?
I was about to say.
Absolutely not.
Mark Edwards Vlasic's contract.
Brett Burns is
I was actually
going
to think of an obscure name, but that's fine. You guys already got bigger things. Yeah. This is extremely difficult because I legit almost hate everything about this franchise and the way it's run.
Fair.
If I had to say one nice thing.
It's the most dead air the show's ever had. It's tough, isn't it?
It's extremely tough because I'm trying to think of something that everyone.
Now who's the biggest rival? Because I view, obviously, it's either Anaheim, LA, or Pittsburgh. Because fuck you, Pittsburgh.
Well, it's Vegas.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, I was like, wait
That's
a sec.
fair.
Yeah, it's totally Vegas because
That
back and forth
that's fair. It's
playoff
gotta be
series,
Vegas at this
all the bad blood in between them, kind of cooled down in the past. But I mean, the Sharks haven't been in the playoffs. I mean, but it's still there. Every time they play, they fucking hate each other. And yeah, honestly, the nicest thing I don't know. Fucking hell. You figured out Reeves couldn't actually play hockey. All right, you know what? They've done a good job of making trades. They've gotten good value for the few amount of assets they had. That being said, you are going to suck in 5 years, and I cannot wait. There. That's nice. That was
There you go.
half of a compliment
And
sandwich.
the nicest thing you can say about the biggest rival of the Toronto Maple Leafs, which who is it? Ottawa, Boston, Montreal, themselves, the media, Edmonton, Vancouver.
I'll start this really. I got like a formal letter. Dear first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, you're very entertaining. I appreciate you. You always make sure to give us 7 games of opportunity and fantastical views on everything. But at the same time, we are like Ray Whitney skating behind the net with Marc-Andre Fleury in net, tripping over a 2x4. We always land flat on their face and end up blowing it in the 7th game. To that, I hate you, but I love you. Sincerely yours, the entirety of the Maple Leafs franchise, fan base, and everyone who had losers since 67 tattoos on their arms. Which is the thing. Yeah.
That's the best choice, by the way.
Yeah, first round.
Main rival of the Leafs.
Because I don't want to say Ottawa, because like they're just like they're down there. I don't want to say the Habs, because realistically we're really above them.
Yeah.
Per se, yeah,
Totally.
And the fact that the
You
Habs
could really
have
see it.
the fact that the Habs have I think this is off the record, but this is an article I talked to Tougie about before the show. The Premier of Quebec is speaking to the NHL to try and get more Quebecois players on the Montreal Canadiens, because last year on May 2021 was the first time in like their history that there was not a single Quebecois born player on their roster, and they freaked out, and it is French nationalism at its finest, and I love it so much. It's so there's nothing more than French salt, and that's sel. I love sel. S-E-L is how you say salt in French. So give me all the sel.
And those language lessons.
Yeah. Tabarnak.
That's the stupidest thing that I just never will understand about that franchise. You gotta
bring back the glory days of getting first crack at all the great young talent out of Quebec until the NHL draft ruined it, and then look at what happened. They still did well and didn't have all Quebecois teams, but no, it's got to be all Quebecois. The coach has to speak it. The GM has to speak French. Everything. It's I don't understand it either.
Yeah. I was going to say they drafted Logan Mailloux. But he's from Lakeshore, Ontario.
Is it? Well,
he sounds French.
At least he sounds like it, though.
he's in our backyard. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's even worse now because they didn't even grab a guy who is true French Canadian, just has a French name.
Yeah.
And he's a sexual criminal.
I mean,
yeah. Legally.
Yeah, legally. Reminder.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. They always love to grab people if they aren't French, if they sound French. Max Pacioretty sounds kind of French. He's American.
And then they do grab somebody French, like the
sounds
great
Italian, though.
Pacioretty.
I mean,
yeah.
New York Italian, like fresh.
I mean, it doesn't sound. It's not a John Merrill type, like, oh yeah, no, there's something going on with Pacioretty. He could be. I get what Endo's saying.
Like I say, John Madden. I was like, yeah, John Madden.
Yeah, football.
Yeah, football.
Well, if you're,
I was gonna say, and then they do draft someone French Canadian like Louis LeBlanc, and look at how that worked out. So hey, go ahead to the Premier of Quebec. You go right ahead. You do you.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with not watching that team make it back to a cup final anytime soon. Thank you very much. Yeah. Now, that question would have been the perfect segue into actually talking about hockey, but hey, we don't do things with common sense around here all the time. So our final question comes from Devs. Which is the worst feeling of the two? Getting food stuck in your teeth, but the only way to get it out is using your tongue, or when you were going to say something but forgot what it was and you just can't quite remember it? I'm going to go with the second one. That is the worst goddamn feeling in the world, is just forgetting what you were going to say and spending the next 1 to 15 minutes trying to remember. If not remembering, like 3 days later, or 3 hours later and going full George Costanza with it. So, yeah, no, I'm going with that second one.
What's with devs and tongues? Like both of these things involve tongues in some sort of way.
Hey, don't shame.
Yeah, don't kink shame me, Lisa.
I'm glad none of you saw that. You'll see it on the podcast when we look at the recording too. You'll be like, "What the fuck?" Tongue flutter.
Answer the question.
I think the food. Food sucks, especially when it's in your teeth, and it's stuck there. The worst one is I got a cavity filling when I was like 7, and like that fell out when I was like 14 or whatever. I think I was picking at it. I didn't know what the fuck it was because I forgot that I went to a dentist appointment because I haven't gone in a long ass time. Thank you, Jeans, for good dental hygiene and health. And I took it out, and now food gets stuck back there, and like I hate it. I hate it so much because it'll just bother me when I'm trying to speak. It's just like a big. It's like in the tooth, and I'm like, how the fuck? How? The fuck?
So, Sin, are you going to go into as much detail?
No. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. No,
Go for it.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. When food's stuck in my teeth, that's like, whatever. It's a challenge, but it's not. Yeah, when you want to say something, then you forget what it was. Because that's such a psychological mind fuck. Like you actually will legitimately get annoyed at yourself and actually mad at yourself, and like you'll rack your brain, and the harder you think at it, the farther away you get. And that is, yeah, that's got to be one of the worst feelings, like for sure. Yeah, physical stuff, whatever. The food will come out eventually. Sometimes you never remember what you were gonna say, and it gets lost. And who knows? It might have been, and you think back on it, it might have been the most like inspirational thing to ever be uttered that would have launched your life in a completely other direction. Now you won't know what it is. You'll spend the rest of your life in a gutter with an empty bottle next to you, cardboard box around you in the rain. And no, I don't know. It's yeah.
Tougie24 on Twitter, and also join us on Discord if you want your questions answered, because you never quite know what you're gonna get, huh?
Yeah.
Never quite know. With that said, hey, we'll get into actually talking about some hockey here as we do. And again, we'll start off on Tuesday night, which, again, didn't have a whole hell of a lot to talk about. Monday night. There wasn't a whole hell of a lot to talk about. For some reason, I'm like, oh, yeah, we used to record on Tuesdays and Fridays, and now we're doing Mondays and Thursdays. It's fine. But on Monday, yeah, the Lightning beat the Islanders 4-1, highlighted by the fact that Zdeno Chara fought Pat Maroon right off the opening draw, and then kind of cross-checked Boris Tkachuk in the back of the head, and then Tkachuk got a single-leg takedown on him while the ref was also hauling on Chara's back to try and get control of the situation. Point his 6th goal, Stamkos his 8th, Barzal his 4th goal of the year, had the lone goal for the Lightning. And then the Blue Jackets beat the Red Wings 5-3. Boone Jenner goal update. He has 7 on the year. It pisses me off to no end that he continues to outperform so many people. God damn it, Boone Jenner. And then Adam Boqvist, the lovely Seth Jones trade, scored his first goal for the Blue Jackets, and Chinnikov also scored his first for Columbus. For the Red Wings, Dylan Larkin scored his 7th. Good old Lucas Raymond scored his 7th of the year as well. 17 points in 17 games for Raymond. Are we calling the Calder race already? It's Raymond or Sider. Like it is. They're at this insane point. We are like just over a month into the season, and I think it's fair to just call that race as it is. It's over.
There's no one
Congratulations to the Detroit Red Wings for winning the Calder Trophy one way or another. I don't see anybody else who's even in the conversation. I mean, we've hyped up Lucas Raymond obviously on this show because how could you not? But at this point, what's there left to say?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask this to you guys before the podcast. Like, when is it a good time to call something, especially in hockey, when you never really know how things are going to turn out unless you're like a landslide away? Like, when do you see is a perfect time to say, yeah, this is going to be a result? Like, 10 games in, 20 games in, 30 games in? What's your guys' take on that?
I like 10 to 20. In my opinion, that's an entire NHL season. Oftentimes, things don't change that drastically between 10 and 20 games. You'll see a team generally how they play the first 10 games or 20 games, is how they played the majority of the season. The rare outstanding ones have been like the Blues when they just completely turned their shit around and won a cup. But that's so freaking rare. Incredibly rare. Yeah, the Habs made it to the cup, but that was also weird circumstances where they didn't necessarily turn the season around. They just made it into this, tournament setting. So yeah, that's mine. 10, 20 games.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the standings, right? Like,
yeah,
obviously the Blues kind of flipped everything upside down. And then obviously, yeah, like Lucas Raymond, I'm not putting this evil out there, Red Wings, but, Red Wings fans, but something could happen. You never quite know. Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't want to call it too early, but in saying that, basically the idea is if things continue to go the way it's going, it's one of those two players. Literally, what you're saying, barring injury.
Yes,
it's one of those two players.
Exactly. I figured.
And you would be correct. Tuesday, we'll go over to Tuesday. The Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Nashville Predators 3-0. Jack Campbell with the shutout. Endo smiling. Matthews his 7th, Marner his 4th. Endo, any thoughts about this particular game before we talk about something else Leafs related?
It wasn't like a crazy game where I had to sit on my ass and be like, oh my god, are we going to win? It was just, bam. Execution, perfect execution. Good work overall by the team. Campbell with the shutout. Just chef's kiss.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay to view that simply. More of those games, for you, I think would make you a happy boy just throughout the year.
Yes, please. I don't want to sit here and complain about how my boys are just, fucking around. Get the shit done so that way you can go celebrate later.
There you go. Now, we have also gotten word that a Maple Leafs legend has officially retired, everybody. Dion Phaneuf has called it a career to the surprise of absolutely nobody at this point. Well, I mean, he hasn't played in like 2 or 3 years at this point, so he held on for a while. He was the 9th overall pick in 2003. No bits of NHL hardware, but he does have a World Junior gold medal and a World Championship gold medal. He finished 3rd in Calder voting, behind Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin in the 05-06 season. Former NHL All-Star. Countless highlight reel hits. Countless highlight reel shots. His shots were so must-see that he could miss the net, and you'd still have to see what happens because he'd break the glass or make a ridiculous dent in the boards. And he also captained the Toronto Maple Leafs during one of the worst stretches in that team's history. Now, people could call it revisionist history. You could also view it as, well, looking at it with hindsight. The way I view Dion Phaneuf as someone who wasn't a fan of the team is obviously his time in Calgary, he was looking fantastic. And then he was brought into Toronto and was essentially asked to play a role that didn't fully, embrace the positives of his game. They almost tried to mold him into something that he wasn't, and surprise, surprise, he didn't look as impressive in that way. They didn't exactly have, like, I've seen a lot of Flames fans mention this as well. It's like, oh yeah, when he was in Calgary, who was he paired with? Robin Regeer, who just sat back and said, go ahead, Dion, essentially be a 4th forward. And wow, what do you know? He'd score 20 goals a season and would look fantastic. And then he goes to Toronto and it's like, no, you got to be the prototypical all-around #1 defenseman leader on the team. And wow, what do you know? Dion Phaneuf wasn't quite that. So it honestly kind of fits the build of some of the critiques Morgan Riley's gotten over the past couple of years, where it's like, hey, guess what? Yeah, Morgan Riley isn't that all-around #1 defenseman, but if you let Morgan Riley be this ridiculous offensive threat that he is, oh, what do you know? He looks great. So, I mean, obviously, like, there are some people who are dumb enough to be like, oh, he's one of the worst captains in history. I disagree. He captained one of the worst couple of teams in Leafs history, but that's not on him. And all in all, I hope at this point, the viewpoint of him has turned around within the Leafs fan base and they can sort of embrace Dion Phaneuf. I mean, again, there's not a ton of success to embrace, but I'd hate to think that there's still like an egregious amount of hate and vitriol his way. Like, I think he was fine for the circumstances that they put him in.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. I didn't get to watch the game, so I wasn't really sure what the sentiments were inside the arena. I haven't ever seen a honoring event where the player has been booed, so hopefully nothing happened. I mean, we would have obviously heard about it, so I guess nothing did happen in that sort of sense. I do feel like the Leafs still have an issue of not utilizing defensemen the way they were built up. Like Morgan Riley is a offensive first defenseman, like you said, and having him play like a all around kind of style is not going to work. You need to have someone who's going to be able to play back instead while this guy goes up. Kind of like when I play initial and I play D, but I mostly play like second center and just skate around the fucking ice all over the place. You got to have someone back there just hunker down so that way you can make those rushes and everything.
So I sat there while you were talking. I googled Dion Phaneuf pairings, and the first headline is the pairing of Dion Phaneuf and Jake Gardiner could be a dynamic one. Yeah, that was viewed as a good idea. Was potentially pairing two offensive defensemen like that together. The second result from November of 2017, Dion Phaneuf and Cody Ceci must be split up. Boy, yeah, you don't say. And granted, that's when he was with Ottawa, but case in point, yeah, no, Cody Ceci is going to be the defensively responsible guy that's going to allow Dion Phaneuf to flourish. God, there's multiple. From January 2015, let's face it, the pairing of Phaneuf and Franzen. Well, strong offensively isn't the best defensive unit for sure. Like, how? How was Dion Phaneuf supposed to succeed? August of 2015, Dion Phaneuf, Mike Komisarek reunited. So I guess that was the plan. I guess that was the plan heading into the next season was Mike Komisarek.
Komisarek!
Like, how? Oh, 2015, Phaneuf Hunwick to lead Maple Leafs defense pairings. Matt fucking Hunwick! What was he supposed to do? Seriously.
My God. Sorry. I love when Sin's just like, yeah, I'm here. I'm loving this right now. God. Like, it feels like he was set up for failure here in the Leafs with the Toronto Maple Leafs. It was kind of like, oh, we need a flashy name to help this team out because they're not star-studded enough. We have no guy, bring him in. It's literally exactly what Brian Burke said he did when he grabbed Phil Kessel. Our team's going to be bad, but we have a guy who can put in seats. We have a guy who can put pucks in the net. That's great. Meanwhile, the team's doing absolutely terrible. Like, God. I'm glad that the franchise is waking up a little bit under the Dubas and Shanahan plan, but at the same time, do we really have like a defensive defenseman on the Leafs roster? No, it's a bunch of guys who are mostly two-way. And I think that's the issue that they need to work on is finding a defensive defenseman. And we've already traded away how many fucking first-round picks, so the chance of us grabbing a first-round worthy defenseman has gotten a little bit like slow beyond the years. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't disagree. Sin, I don't know if you have any takes on Dion Phaneuf at this point, but
it's more of an overall. It's to me, it's just symptomatic of the Leafs mentality. They buy at that time, especially they weren't necessarily getting pieces on a team. They're buying players. I'll send kind of quote Moneyball. Your goal shouldn't be to buy players. Your goal should be to buy wins. What they did, they saw Dion Phaneuf. They saw this star, and we're going to make him a star. We're going to bring him to Toronto. He's going to be a star. That's simply not what Dion Phaneuf was. He was a great player. Could have been a star. Could have been one of the better offensive defensemen in there. But what do you need for a good offensive defenseman? You need someone to shut things down. Like, it's the same thing.
Francois Beauchemin.
Yeah, every year, every year that Brent Burns has succeeded or really been able to go off, he's had a tremendous partner. Like, first year that Paul Martin was brought onto the Sharks, Brent Burns could just do amazing things. Like, so, I mean, yeah, if you're going to have that guy who's going to be this, pure offensive defensive threat, you cannot take someone there. You can add other elements to their game. But the second they started expecting him to be that, and the expectations on him, then did they put the C on him immediately, or did that take like a year?
I believe
Immediately,
Like
holy
when they
fuck.
got there, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, yeah, here's a
Imagine.
C, and like there you go, and it's like
Like,
great, thanks.
Yeah, so you put that kind of pressure on him, the media pressure, the pressure to literally be the number one, and when you haven't done that, to literally develop this other aspect of your game, or you're going to get your ass torn up by the media, like all that stuff.
Dude, so sorry to interrupt,
No,
but
go
like
for it.
2009, 2010 was when that trade happened. So he played 55 games for Calgary, gets dealt to Toronto. He wore an A after being acquired by Toronto. Over the course of 26 games, he at least wore a letter already for that team. Like instantly, they're just like, "Yep, nope, this is our guy," which is insane.
Yeah, again, I think that just goes to show like the expectations that were put on him, and not like it just maybe wasn't who he was. Not to say that he's not a good leader, but it's the fact being that the second he gets there, he's expected to step into that role. He's expected to change his game without the same sort of supporting cast, and like, yeah, that I think that was tough for him. Not to say that he didn't develop a pretty decent at times kind of defensive games, but it just for him to do that, it look what happened to his point production. It took a huge, massive hit.
Yeah, so his best season in Calgary had 60 points in 07-08. Also had 182 penalty minutes that season.
That's a big,
which is awesome.
That's a large man.
His best point total as a Leaf was 44.
Not bad
in
but
2011-12.
Yeah.
So I mean, you talk about the issue there too, right? Like Matt Sundin plays his final season as a Leaf in 2007-2008. They go 2 years without a captain, and then bam, Dion Phaneuf in his first full season as a Leaf is replacing Matt Sundin as captain.
Some big skates to fill. He definitely did. Not.
And also, you're no longer, on this Flames team.
At the time, they were going to the playoffs constantly too.
Yep.
Like for the Flames, though, it's like okay, Jerome McGinley's the leader on this team. But also on the Flames, you look at who are the top four defensemen on that Flames team the year Dion Phaneuf was traded.
Oh man,
it was obviously Dion, Robin Regeer, Jay Bouwmeester, and Mark Giordano.
Jesus.
Well, Gio.
Yeah,
he
Gio.
didn't have to be the guy on that team. And granted, Mark Giordano wasn't quite yet what he'd be known as, a Norris winner.
But Bouwmeester was
the leading
phenomenal back then.
Yep.
Yes, he was
really
incredible.
good.
Like, incredibly underrated was Jay Bouwmeester through a decent amount of his career, to be honest. He didn't have to be the number one guy, right? So, again, Gio, Bouwmeester, Phaneuf, Regeer. That was the top four on Calgary when Dion Phaneuf was traded there.
I couldn't tell you who was defense on the Leafs when Phaneuf got there.
Well, that's what I'm going to tell you. His first, do you want the Leafs defense that he joined up with, or his first full season on the Leafs? What was his defense?
Give us both.
Okay, so 2009-2010, Dion Phaneuf again was traded from Calgary to Toronto. If you don't remember the full details of the trade, it was Freddie Sjustrom and Keith Awley also coming over to Toronto in exchange for Jamal Mayers, Nicholas Hagman, Matt Stajan, and Ian White.
Okay, well, Toronto won the trade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Matt Stajan versus Dion Phaneuf and how you view it to who won that. But the Leafs defense that Dion Phaneuf joined up with for the rest of 2009-2010, the top four scorers, Thomas Kaberle, towards the end of his career, obviously, like he'd only really play, one more season. He got traded to the Bruins the next year. Ian White, Francois Beauchemin, Luke Schenn, and Carl Gunnarsson. Phaneuf outscored 39 games worth of Jeff Finger. He also outscored 51 games worth of Garnet Exelby and 34 games worth of Mike Komisarek.
God.
And then the next year, his first full year in Toronto, and again, we mentioned P.A. Parento last show. This was a little bit before P.A. Parento, but kind of those type of players that were on this team. Here was the Leafs defense in Dion Phaneuf's first full year as a member of the Leafs. And Phaneuf also only played 66 of the 82 games that year due to injury. Thomas Kaberle was the leading scorer, then Dion. Luke Schenn was still there, so that was before the JVR trade. Carl Gunnarsson, Francois Beauchemin, and Mike Komisarek. You also had 41 games of Brett Lebda and 40 games of Keith Ollie. Like, so again, he goes from being insulated by Regier, Bouwmeester, and Giordano to you are the guy, and your supporting cast is an old Thomas Kaberle, Luke Shen, and Carl Gunnarsson. But it's Dion Phaneuf's fault.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
That's that again, and that comes from it. What the point I was making is that it's very much a superstar culture. Like they don't look at what may be happening with the rest of them. It's like, oh, superstar, we brought you here to be a superstar. Oh, you're not a superstar? Too bad. We expect that out of you. It's your fault. And like, you know, they didn't look at what else was. It's insane, and that's kind of crazy.
It never really got better either, because it's like, well, think about who joined that defense core over the next couple of years. Jake Gardner, which again, Jake Gardner. I don't hate Jake Gardner as a player, but everyone knows that Jake Gardner was also a more offensive defenseman, similar to Dion Phaneuf. John Michael Lyles, Cody Franzen would join up on that defense. And then, I mean, God, you get into some of the guys that were plugged into that lineup over the years. Endo, how does Mike Koska and Mark Frazier?
Oh my
Pat Frazier he's basically just a fucking
Frazier.
enforcer.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually, how does Paul Ranger and Tim Gleason sound?
I want to forget those names. God damn it.
There's-
Like, obviously, eventually, like, Morgan Riley joined up with the team. But then there's the Roman Polak, Stefan Robida, Corbidian Holzers
So the
of
Leafs
the world.
were the biggest people who are guilty of thinking a physical defenseman is a shutdown defenseman. All those guys you list, like the Rangers, the Polacks, like even Gleason.
How about 18 games of Eric Brewer?
Well, look at the coaching during that time period. You had Paul Maurice, Ron Wilson, Randy Carlisle, and then obviously things changed over with Horacek. And then
Good
bad
one,
one.
Randy.
Great play, Randy.
God, it's just, you look back at some of these defenses that Phaneuf was a part of, and again, even after they drafted Morgan Riley, Phaneuf was still supposed to be the guy. Phaneuf was supposed to be the Giordano or the Bouwmeester to Morgan Riley's Dion Phaneuf from the time. And it's just, there was never that insulation. And again, I get that the idea was, oh, Dion is supposed to be the guy, but they didn't really put him in a position to allow him to be the guy. Like, I think Sin hit the nail on the head. Like, you didn't get Dion Phaneuf to be like, yes, here is the piece. Here is the player. We're going to mold him into what we need him to be. And that wasn't Dion Phaneuf. So I think Dion had a fantastic career. Unfortunately, his legacy in hockey is going to be tied to the failures of the Leafs around that time, but I do not view that as Dion Phaneuf's fault in the slightest. Like, I think he was put into a very, very unfortunate situation, and there's only so much you can do in terms of making the best of it, right?
Yeah.
So, as well, on Tuesday, again, Tuesday was the big day of the week for us so far. The Florida Panthers beat the New York Islanders 6-1. So the Panthers struggles. They finally kind of get things going again. Jonathan Huberdeau, Aaron Ekblad, both scoring their 5th of the year. For the Islanders, boys, Kyle Palmieri scored his 1st of the year.
I didn't even know he was there.
Without looking it up,
Damn.
let's play the Price is Right closest without going over game. Do you know how much the New York Islanders are paying Kyle Palmieri?
5.
Can you name Kyle Palmieri's contract?
$6 million.
I'm gonna say 5.65 per.
Well, you both went over.
Oh, okay.
But in fairness, he is on a $5 million deal, a $5 million cap hit with 3 years left. This season, he has 6 points in 13 games.
Okay.
And again, that was his first goal of the year.
Check the assist this time. So we didn't.
Yeah, I checked the assist. Don't worry, I learned. But he has 30 regular season games played with the Islanders and just 10 points. But you're talking about someone who would almost routinely put up 50 points during his time with the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah.
Now, he did have 9 points in 19 games in the playoffs last year, 7 goals.
That's still not worth 5
But
mil.
I do not blame Islanders fans for being very, very concerned that Kyle Palmieri essentially hit age 29, 30 and straight down the tubes there. Like, that's very, very concerning. And you're talking about a team now that is 5-6-2. And they are going to be without, arguably, I would say probably their best defenseman in Ryan Pulock, who's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a lower body injury. On top of that, you had another injury occur in the game. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend you look it up here. But I did break this down on stream the other night. Scott Mayfield with the knee-on-knee hit on Sasha Barkov, which led people to fear that Barkov could miss the rest of the season. Shockingly, with the way his knee bent. Like, if you're not a incredibly high-level professional athlete, your knee is destroyed.
Yeah.
That's either that, it was a combination of that and pure luck. Because Barkov's only going to be out week to week, no surgeries required. But for Mayfield, it was called kneeing. He got 5 in a game, which I completely agree with. But while Scott Mayfield has the reputation of being more of a physical player, maybe even a dirty player, I didn't view this as an intentional knee-on-knee hit. But at the end of the day, as we've talked about on the show, you're still responsible for the outcome of the play. You know, I viewed this play as Scott Mayfield was going for a check, Barkov turned in to go towards center ice, and this was the unfortunate outcome. I genuinely don't believe that Mayfield intentionally stuck his leg out and targeted the knee of Sasha Barkov. But the end result was a pretty brutal knee-on-knee collision that resulted in injury. Yeah. So I completely agree with 5 in a game. In terms of a suspension for the outcome, maybe in a perfect world, give him a couple games. But at the end of the day, are you going to give Scott Mayfield 2 games and say that's just as bad as what Tucker Pullman did?
Yeah.
Swinging his stick at someone's head?
NHL's once again screwed themselves with a precedent.
Yeah, the Department of Player Safety already fucked up this season. Like, because the standard is now Tucker Pullman gets 2 games for swinging a stick at someone's head.
Yep.
So how is what I did possibly worse than 2 games? The level to get suspended for more than 2 games has been set pretty damn high, and we're a month into the season. So, good job, George Peros. You guys are crushing it. But, yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the hit.
I did, yeah.
I didn't view it as, like I said, overly intentional, but I agree that Mayfield was rightfully ejected from the game for the outcome.
I mean, it has to happen. Like, it's it's not one of those that's is going to be punished solely on the outcome. It's an illegal play. And, yeah, I mean, you have to... It's like when you have to be responsible for your stick at all times and all that stuff. You have to be responsible for your body at all times. You have to be responsible for other players on the ice too. That's why you don't hit people in vulnerable positions. And, you try to, I know some people say the onus has got to be on, no, he's maybe dodging out of the way and stuff, but also the way you're positioning yourself to, like 4 hits and stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah. So it's, again, not intentional. You didn't mean to do it, but it still happened. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Just looked at it right now, and you can tell that he's going for the hit, and I think he wanted to go deliver it low, but I don't think he really wanted to hit him like at his knee or make contact over there. But at the same time, you're trying to make that play, and the emphasis is on you. You're trying to deliver that hit. If you can't do it properly and you get the guy hurt, that's on you.
Yeah.
This is totally a freak accident, though. I think. I don't think he deliberately wanted to go injure the guy, but I believe there has to be action done for this, set a precedent for the future.
Well, that kind of brings us into another incident that happened. Now, granted, this incident happened a few days ago, but as we move into talking about the Rangers and Habs game, the Rangers winning that one 3-2. At that point, the Rangers also moving up to 10-3-3 on the season. The Habs at a wonderful 4-12-2.
Nice.
So, yeah, maybe get more locals into the lineup. Things might work out. But the Rangers have officially lost Sammy Blais for the rest of the season after an incident involving PK Subban. The play itself did look accidental, but every time we have that conversation about sneaky, dirty players, hey, PK Subban's in that conversation. And specifically this season...
It's like 4th slew foot.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the problem. Even if this wasn't incidental, there was skate-on-skate contact with Sammy Blais facing away from Subban. You can define it as a slew foot. And yeah, Blais out for the rest of the year. Of course, he was a decent part of the trade coming back for Pavel Buchnevich. And again, for PK, we've mentioned it on the show, has he lost a step skating-wise? It would appear so, because it appears as though he is going about other methods to try and stay competitive and in the play. Now, former NHL referee Tim Peel had this quote to say, and if this doesn't scare the hell out of you, I don't know what to make of your opinion. I'm sorry, but Tim Peel said this on Twitter. I can unequivocally say that PK Subban is not a dirty player. I talked to PK, and he told me that this is just a bad habit that's crept into his game. I refereed him, and I know him personally, and I can guarantee he's not trying to intentionally hurt any player.
Real familiar. Can unequivocally say that Stan Bowman is not a bad guy, and these are not his... Again, not really comparable to the situation, but it just comes out. If he's not a dirty player, why is he keep committing dirty fucking plays?
Why is he involved in so many dirty plays?
Yeah, like that's so stupid. If Sam Bowman has values, why the fuck is he covering up sexual assault?
PK is not dirty. He just has dirty tendencies.
Yeah,
Makes
like
you a
what
dirty
the
player.
fuck?
It gives you
Like,
reputation.
PK told me himself he's not dirty, but he has dirty tendencies that have crept into his game. So he's dirty then.
We did our own investigation. We found we did nothing, no conclusive evidence.
I know a lot of people.
Mom, I'm not dirty. I just went outside and rolled in a puddle this one time. And that's the second time, and the third time. Because, again, bad habits have crept in. So it's just a bad habit. I'm not actually dirty, but I'm going to go take a shower. Like, that might not be the best analogy. That's the best I got, where it's like, you're not going to sit here and lie to my face like this.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And I know a lot of people at this point want Tim Peel to shut his mouth and stuff like that. I want him to keep talking because this just goes to
Expose
prove
yourself.
This just goes to prove how screwed up the NHL is, especially the officials. So it's like, yes, please keep talking. Please keep damning this league and everything that we've thought has happened where there's, referees trying to keep things under control, but by doing that are literally, they're like, we don't want to, we're not going to call it here. We don't want to affect the outcome of the game. It's like, you're literally affecting the outcome of the game by not doing your job properly. And again, this kind of stuff just goes to show you, it's just like how much gets overlooked and and who gets favoritism. Oh, I know him. Oh, he talks to me. That's why it's so weird. It's
My dad
bizarre.
works at Nintendo.
It's absolutely bizarre, but okay, bad habit. Well, he just literally ended someone's season. When's it gonna take? He's gonna have to end someone's career for it to be taken seriously. Holy shit!
Yeah,
he's dirty.
And I mean, it's not to judge. Like, we're not judging PK Subban's character off the ice.
No.
From everything the general public knows, PK Subban is a fantastic human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
From what we all know, from what's out there, but on ice. It's like the SpongeBob meme where you pull out the couch cushion, you open the closet, like how many examples do we need before you can rightfully call somebody dirty? I don't get it. So again, Tim Peel, you have opinions. That's the nicest. What's the nicest thing you can say about your biggest rival? Tim Peel, you have opinions.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
In that Rangers game, though, Capo Caco scored his second because the second we call out Capo Caco and Alexi Lafreniere, they start scoring goals. It's great. Chris Kreider scored his 12th of the year as well.
He can't keep getting away with this. Chris Kreider. He needs to stop pretending
he's
to be
gonna
good.
hit 30 at least, which I believe would be. Hold on, let's play another favorite game.
What's his
Guess
career high?
Chris Kreider's career high goal total in a single season.
25.
What are the most goals that you think Kreider scored in a single season?
You say 25?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 28. I feel like he's gotten close.
Nice.
He has hit 28 goals 2 different times in his career. 16-17, he played 75 games, so he very well could have hit 30. And in 18-19, he played 79 games, had 28 goals. So
which was his
he's
contract
gotten there
year.
a couple of times. Basically, if he stays healthy, Chris Kreider has 12 goals in 16 games. 12 goals in 16 games.
Oh my god!
What the fuck?
What?
The pace isn't sustainable, but yeah, he's for sure hitting 30.
No, it's not.
That's ridiculous.
He has 12 goals, 13, no, not 13 assists, but 12 goals, 3 assists for 15 points in 16 games so far
That's not
this
real.
year. Jesus.
What are they seeding them over there? Jeez. All the GMOs. Come on.
Oh my
Give me some of
god.
those. My knee hurts. I need to get my knee recovered fast.
Jesus,
Can't be
I'm trying to
Nathan
look
McKinnon
up.
would approve of, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm trying to look up his shooting percentage on the okay.
Oh, it's going to be 30% at least.
Shockingly, no, but he has 12 goals on 50 shots, which comes out to a 24%
That's not bad.
shooting percentage on the
Not
season so
sustainable.
far. No, although last year he had a 19% shooting percentage in 50 games. So how much is it going to drop off? Chris Kreider, he's aging like a fine wine, as they say. His shooting percentage has gone up like every year over the past like 5 years. So shout out to Chris Kreider. Also in that Ranger game, again, there was a lot to talk about from this particular game. Ryan Reeves absolutely mauled Michael Pezzetta.
I
like
didn't
a
see the fight.
lion against a gazelle. Like, my God. Michael Pezzetta, like, I can only judge by stats, but it's like in the AHL, seems like he probably gets into a lot of fights, plays that, kind of role for the Laval Rocket, the energy guy. There are weight classes when it comes to fighting in the NHL. And again, I don't want to get into the full conversation about fighting. I like it, but I don't. I'm okay if it's two guys. In a way, I'm okay if it's two guys who are just like, okay, we're both down for this. But also on the flip side, like Michael Pezzetta is kind of in a position where if he's going to make the NHL and stay there, he kind of has to fight, which is a bit scary because we've seen what's happened to guys that have had to do that in the past. Some of them aren't alive anymore. So I'm so torn on fighting. But yes, a part of my monkey brain was just like, yes, Ryan Reeves, maul, and it was a wonderful fight. But then I feel dirty about it. So I don't want to get into that full conversation. But the balls on Michael Pezzetta
Oh my God.
to go after Ryan Reeves.
Apparently, I got to see the fight because
He just tossed him like a
it
fucking
wasn't-
ragdoll. Like, woo!
It wasn't the worst one-sided mauling I've ever seen. But yeah, no,
that's
I mean, it was...
honestly one of Reeves' biggest strengths in fighting. Is just literally his strength. Like he'll just keep you off balance. He's not a good fighter.
Yep.
If you watch his fights, he's a shitty technical fighter. But when you're that strong and that kind of core balance.
It's just his brute strength and balance.
The thing that one of the best fighters ever had, in my opinion, was Georges Laraque, is that he had that stupid strength, but he was also a good fighter too. Like he had the technical aspects too. But yeah, I mean, but
I see what you're saying.
But Reeves, who the fuck? Like, it doesn't matter. He can win it on strength alone because there's literally no more Laraques. He's the only guy left in the NHL still getting
Pretty
ice
much,
time. Who is
I mean,
an enforcer?
How many actual enforcers are out there? Because like Michael Haley would have been in that category, but he's
small.
not with the team
He's
right
not
now.
in the weight class either. He's like 5'10", dude.
Yeah. Like I'm really struggling to think of like
Curtis
like,
Gabriel.
I don't know if you.
It was
Yeah,
But he
and
can't
he's
crack
not
a
on
roster.
the NHL roster right now either.
Yeah, he's in the A.
when him and Reeves
unless-
fought. That was like probably the closest. But then also he would get. Then Curtis Gabriel like lost a fight to McDermott, so it's like.
Yeah, Curtis McDermott's probably in there too
Yeah.
for that conversation. He's a big boy too, but I want to know, like, I don't know if Hockey Fights still has like a feature like this, but I want to know, like, judging by the community, like what's the percentage of fights won by Reeves? Because I imagine it's pretty damn high. Also in this game, Brendan Gallagher and Barclay Goodrow off a face-off. They kind of got tied up going after the puck in the middle. Gallagher gets up and sucker punches him. He got 2 minutes for roughing and was fined $2.5K the next day. So,
Really?
no, I'm sure with just 4 wins in 18 games on the season, that's not frustration shown by Brendan Gallagher whatsoever. For the Habs, there's really not much to talk about. Like, Dvorak scored his second. You know, it's been a bit of a slow start for him in terms of the goal scoring side of things. Point-wise, I don't know. Josh Anderson scored his 4th. But the big news today for the Habs, Cole Caufield is back.
Why?
After 6 games with the Laval Rocket, in which he had 5 points, he has been recalled by the Habs. He is expected to play Thursday night. Again, a reminder, he had 1 point in 10 games before being sent down to Laval. Why?
Yeah.
Is what Sin said.
It's a
and
stupid
why?
fucking decision. It's not like he went in there and had 10 points in 6 games. He was sub-point per game in the AHL. Just let him dominate there. Fuck.
Yeah.
You know,
don't
like
get it.
it's tough to be that close to point per game in the AHL. It is very
What is
difficult
the
to do.
rush? You're a shit team.
He was doing very good in the AHL. Leave him there. Let him develop. Let him continue that pace and get his confidence up. Cole Caufield is not going to step into this lineup and all of a sudden you're going to go from 4-12-2 or whatever the hell it is to 16-12-2. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, I can only view this as Marc Bergevin trying to save his job, which is crazy because, again, they just made it to a cup final, but this just reeks of desperation.
You know,
does it not?
Yeah, a little bit. So I just checked the last game because the Marlies and the Rocket played yesterday, and the Rocket won 6-5 in overtime in a shootout. I just checked the stats right now. Cole Caufield had a goal in the shootout, and he also had. Hold on, let me check right here. I think he has another goal as well. Caufield,
He scored
one
off the
goal,
rush.
Yeah, one goal off the rush, one goal in the shootout. Did that shootout goal like promote him to going up? Because it looks like no one else scored.
No, did he only just have that 1 point in that game? Just that goal?
Just that one goal.
Okay. I was like, if he maybe had like a multi-point game, but even then that would be damning because it's like, oh, what? He just had 3 points in this game. So essentially in 5 games, he only had 2 points and you're going to call him up. Either way, it's dumb. Any way you want to look at that, this is such a bad call up. Like, again, I mean, it's clear he belongs there. He's doing good.
Yep.
Like, let him get that confidence up. 6 games is not enough to get the confidence up. I understand maybe the argument we don't want to, crush the guy's spirits or whatever, but bro, you go from
you're gonna crush his spirits playing him on the Habs.
Exactly. So like I was gonna ask, what's the Laval? What's their record? Like what kind of team are they?
They're bottom. I think we're near the bottom-ish. I'll check right now. League standings.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can give it a look up here too.
The Laval Rocket are 8-6-1. The Toronto Marlies are 7-4-0.
Leave them in Laval.
And the Utica Comets right now 11-0. Holy! I think that chirping of Caufield really gave them a boost right now because they haven't lost a single game. They are the and the Stockton Heat. Them and the Stockton Heat, which are the affiliate for the Calgary Flames, are the only undefeated teams left remaining in the AHL.
Basically, why the fuck would you take him out of a over 500 team and put him back onto a bottom feeder? Especially with that over 500 team, he's actually contributing. He's actually doing what he's supposed to do, which is put up points and help a team. Why are you going to put him back onto a roster that he's not going to be able to do that there? He's going to be up against stiffer competition. He's not going to have as much probably help on the offensive end. Yeah, maybe he's playing with weaker offensive tools down there, but at the same time, it allows him to do what they drafted him to do, and that's to be a difference maker. If you want to develop him, allow him to be a difference maker. This move just makes no sense, and maybe we're wrong. Maybe he does well being called up. I just don't see it. It's been 6 games of development.
I mean, it's not so much the conversation as to whether or not he'll do well, but it's more so the conversation of how what is the point from the Habs' perspective?
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
Like, how much of a difference maker will he be? And even if he's putting up points at the NHL level, the argument is points at the NHL level, but the team's losing. Points at the AHL level, but it's the AHL. Like, I would view the AHL as the better of the options, right?
And they might go to the playoffs, and he'll get more clutch experience. And we'll see if that, last year was maybe just a fluke. But maybe he has a playoff tendency, and he steps it up, and he leads the team to a goddamn Calder. Who knows? Why? I don't understand this move. I just don't get it. And you're going to demoralize him more by sending him down a second time, which is probably likely-ish to happen. I'd say at least a 50% probability that it happens.
Yeah.
And look, there's a chance that this ages well.
Yeah.
In terms of the Habs' decision, right? And then people will be like, oh, well, what do you know? But in the moment, the idea behind this move is illogical.
It's easy to look back
it is.
And have an opinion. It's a lot harder to look forward. And, well, when you put yourself... I won't say it's harder. We're putting ourselves out there to be burned. And that's because we actually feel strongly about this, and everything in our opinions and hockey minds and what we've seen just says this isn't a great idea.
Yeah, I'm looking...
He plays for the Habs, but I love the sport of hockey, and I love the idea of superstars being superstars.
Yep.
I think Cole Caufield can be one of the top goal scorers year in and year out throughout his career. But there have been a lot of people who could have had that potential, and they just don't quite get there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that comes down to player development and the decisions made by management to properly manage an asset. We'll see if the Habs are making the right call, but this screams wrong call at the moment.
I'm looking at his
we'll see what happens.
Per game performance right now. First game against Syracuse, nothing. Utica had 1 assist against Belleville, another assist against Binghamton, whatever the fuck the
Binghamton.
Yeah, Binghamton. Thank you. I was going to say Bennington. Close enough. Nothing. Laval against Utica, he had a goal and an assist, so it shows that he can score against like a top level team in the AHL. And then against Toronto, he had 1 goal. So like it shows like spurts that he can do well. But I think if you're gonna put a guy up and be a guy who has his stature and his development, what he's supposed to become, have him going out there getting like less than a point per game, or having games where he isn't like dominating out there in the A, I don't think it's time to call him up for the N. He needs more time.
As well, on Tuesday, the Philadelphia Flyers beat the Calgary Flames 2-1 in overtime. Kevin Hayes scored his first goal of the season, again in one of those moments that at the end of the year, the overall highlight packages, that goal will be included as one of the moments of the year. Cam Atkinson scored his 7th goal of the year. How many assists does he have, though, compared to Voracek? But Cam Atkinson scored his 7th of the year for the OT winner. The bad news for the Flyers, in a way, they've already missed him for 10 of their last 11 games. But Ryan Ellis is out 4 to 6 weeks with a lower body injury as well, similar to Ryan Pulock, where, I mean, again, Flyers 8-4-2. He's missed the majority of the season so far anyway, but that is a massive loss for the Philadelphia Flyers. I mean, you know, you look at the move to bring him in. I mean, they got rid of Nolan Patrick, and that might age well, unfortunately, with the injury troubles that Nolan Patrick's had. But, you know, it's testing that defensive depth. And I can't speak to, you know, specifically how certain players have done this year, but I look at that Flyers defense right now, and it's Provorov, Braun, Sanheim, Ristolainen, Keith Yandel, and Nick Seeler. So you're probably going to want Ryan Ellis back as soon as you can get him back. And he does have 5 points in 4 games this year for the Flyers. So,
yeah.
You know, one of those things where it's like, if you're a Flyers fan, obviously you're like, please God, let Ryan Ellis be healthy. And on the other side for Calgary, in terms of important defensemen, he's not hurt, but Oliver Sheelington scored his 3rd of the year, and he's been phenomenal for Calgary. And granted, Calgary's kind of slumped a little bit. I mean, they're 8-3-5 after a tremendous start, but still looking pretty good, all things considered. Sin's proud of himself for predicting it, I believe.
What, Shillington? No, I was just thinking back to your tweet, and I was just gonna be like, yeah, Saborell's doing pretty good too, isn't he? But that was your. I'm sorry, it's one of the funniest tweets, and it's still. And I'm sorry to laugh at your pain, but I feel like we're all good enough friends to do that to each other.
It'll never go away.
I won't.
For those who don't know, on Twitter yesterday,
it's a blunder. Like,
the tweet resurfaced one more time. Like every little bit, every couple of months, the tweet comes back up, and this particular one was from Reese Jessup, who's a good follow, by the way, from June 26, 2015, at 8:28 p.m. Oh shit, Boston could get Barzal, Connor, and Sheelington with these next 3 picks.
I forgot Kyle Connor was there. I legit forgot about Kyle Connor.
Oh, do you now realize why I always bring up Kyle Connor and his goal scoring totals? Do you not understand why?
It makes a whole hell of a lot more sense now. I remembered Shillington. I remember Barzal, of course, but wow. Honestly, it's worse. It's worse than the Oilers going for Yakupov. It's worse. Like, you missed 3 missed.
You missed with a number 1 overall pick. Sure, that sucks. But 13, 14, 15, and you missed on one of them outright with Zach Senyshyn, who just hasn't been able to cut it and make it to an NHL roster consistently, and he's 24 years old now. There was Jake DeBrusk, who was good. And then there's Jake Saborell, who was okay. Like, he's played pretty good this year, Jake Saborell. But obviously, is Jake Saborell, for example, let's look at the defensemen who were taken after Jake Saborell.
A third pairing defenseman and a middle 6 winger.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And then an AHLer.
Yeah.
For defense, who was taken after Jake Saborell in that first round? Well, the next defenseman taken was Thomas Chabot. And then obviously you get guys like Noah Juleson, Jacob Larson, Gabe Carlson, which so it shows that first round was kind of a minefield. It is also worth noting in terms of defensemen, Thomas Chabot might have actually, I mean, he probably was the best defender from that draft, at least taken at the point that he was taken. I guess there's the argument for the likes of Noah Hannafin, Provorov, and Werenski. I'd probably take Thomas Chabot, though. Dude, again, it was 15 Zach Senyshyn, 16 Matt Barzal, 17 Kyle Connor, 23 Brock Besser, 24 Travis Konechny, 28 Anthony Beauvillier. Even 25 Jack Roslovic, 35 Sebastian Aho.
I feel like the Bruins were still in that mindset of like, we're getting our kind of players. The same reason they traded like Sagan, you know, we're getting our kind of players, and it's just oof.
Watching that press conference for the first time, whether the meeting they have, because
about Sagan.
Really? Yeah, I was like, "Are you what?"
I love that.
From behind the B, where they're talking about,
just sitting there, is like, is he really our kind of player? You know, is he?
Does he fit the culture though?
The culture defines us.
Oh man,
odd.
What's up with these original 6 teams and Canadian teams? Like, first of all, never changing their fucking jerseys, but always having this culture that everyone must adhere to in some way, shape, or form.
Old Boys Club.
Yeah,
I'm
great.
just so sad.
Yeah, I found out.
I'm just so sad.
It's disappointing, honestly. Like,
yeah, I can't say the Sharks have ever had a move quite like that. We've had some bad moves and stuff, and bad draft. Like Mirko Mueller is awful. I mean, for us, it was like a few years in a row where it was just like, God damn, can we do something with this first rounder? Like, but then I'm happy now. We actually have a good scouting and draft team that have hit in like the first 4 rounds at least once or twice every single draft since they've taken over.
So I don't want to go into full detail, but it's like, you know, that 13th pick that the Bruins had was from LA, right? And that was them trading Milan Lucic to LA for the 13th overall pick, Martin Jones and Colin Miller. Colin Miller, I don't remember if Chiller ended up being traded. I think, was he taken by Vegas? I think that's how he left Boston. Then they, of course, immediately flipped Martin Jones to San Jose for Sean Corrali and the pick that became Trent Frederick. Basically, it's like that trade hasn't really worked out for the Bruins. Like, you got a few years of Sean Corrali. You know, you have Saborell now. DeBrusk was theirs. And then that Senyshyn pick was from Calgary. You guys remember? I
have no recollection.
You guys remember who went to Calgary in that trade?
Let me think. What year was this?
2015.
2015. I went to Calgary. Man, I don't know.
Think about how depressed I am right now.
You didn't have Markstrom, did you? No, he was... No.
Defenseman.
No, why would it be
one
Markstrom?
of the Hamilton brothers?
Oh, it was Dougie.
Yep.
It
yes,
was.
I forgot. Dougie was a Bruins draft pick, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It was Dougie Hamilton to Calgary for the pick that became Zach Senyshyn and 2 second-rounders that became Jakob Forsbacka-Karlsson, who never really cut it at the NHL level, and Jeremy Lauzon, who was just taken by Seattle in their expansion. It is...
That's a debacle.
For me, the worst fumble in NHL draft history. And I know that I'm biased as a Bruins fan. It is the worst fumble in history.
It's pretty brutal.
You traded Lucic, which needed to be done, but still, you traded Lucic, you traded Hamilton. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, oh, hey, Saborell, DeBrusk, Senyshyn, or Dougie fucking Hamilton. Yeah, I'll take Dougie, thanks. Like,
yeah, what is up with teams like feeling like they disrespect Dougie? Is it because he's an introvert? Is it because he's soft-spoken? It's crazy to me. He's kind of never like been fully respected
right
everywhere he went. Yeah, Dougie fucking Fresh. I can't. You know who I keep forgetting? Like Dougie Fresh was like he was a Bruin. Kessel was drafted by the Bruins, wasn't he too? Like
yeah, and they traded Kessel to get Sagan and Hamilton, and then they traded Sagan and Hamilton and got nothing back. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
How they fucking fumbled the Sagan and Hamilton trades because they did. I just told you what the Hamilton trade was, and you see how bad that was, and then you remember the Sagan trade, which was... also sending Rich Peverly and Ryan Button to Dallas for Louis Erickson, Matt Frazier, Joe Morrow, and Riley Smith. None of whom are still Bruins. None of
You
them.
had Riley Smith.
Louis hasn't been a
They had
Bruin for
Riley
years.
Smith, yeah.
Riley Smith, they sent to Florida. I don't even remember they sent Riley Smith to Florida for God rest his soul, Jimmy Hayes, which didn't work either. Fuck. Can we end the show? We still have a lot to talk about, but I want to go take a nap.
I can't believe, like, dude, has there ever been like a trade tree made of that, or like just a?
I don't know, but if Steve Dangle hasn't, I'm gonna fucking make it so that I can just exercise this demon that continues to haunt me.
Oh, all right, let's move on for poor Tougie
Yeah, hey,
sanity.
let's talk about how Fenway Sports Group might buy the Pittsburgh fucking Penguins.
Hey, at least I'll have good hot dogs.
Pittsburgh
Oh my
yellow
God,
sauce.
so-
Let's
Get
go.
a Fenway Frank, and look at this Terminator Penguin. They need to bring back
my
that logo,
God.
by the way.
So
Robo Penguin.
the Sabres beat the Penguins 2-1. The Penguins are 5-6-4 on the year. Like, they've had injury troubles and COVID troubles. But yeah, like, shout out to Dustin Tokarski, who beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2021.
God.
That's a real thing.
I can't stand.
But yeah, the news was that Fenway Sports Group, who own the Boston Red Sox, they own Liverpool, they are in talks to potentially buy the Pittsburgh Penguins, who I didn't even realize the Penguins were potentially for sale. Now,
Stonks, baby.
you know, there's
Sell at the top. Good on
Yeah.
you. Good on you, Mario.
Buy low, sell high.
like, I could get into Fenway Sports, you know, the reputation of Fenway Sports Group, and it's mixed, right? It's mixed. Like, for Red Sox fans, I mean, obviously it is predominantly positive. Shocker. 4 World Series.
As long as they're winning.
Although at times criticized for not spending money when they could have. That has been the criticism for their run with Liverpool, is not spending money when they could have. Granted, they've won a Champions League, they've won the Premier League, but at the same time, there's been the argument of almost resting on their laurels once they find that success. So, you know, they're a polarizing ownership group, but at the end of the day, it's tough to argue with the success that they've brought. I mean, it's not as if the Pittsburgh Penguins are desperate for success. You've had enough, fuckers. Settle down. But, yeah, this was just out of nowhere, and I mean, we'll continue to cover it if anything comes of it, but, yeah, that would, needless to say, the headline of essentially Boston ownership group buys the Pittsburgh Penguins.
It's interesting.
It's awkward.
But I mean, I kind of, because Mario got involved in the ownership at a very interesting time, wasn't it? When they were about to go bankrupt. So like,
Yeah,
what
so
a
he
move
bought
by
the team.
him, dude.
He bought the team when they were rumored to be moving to Kansas City. If I'm not mistaken, that was
When
the
is
timeline.
Kansas City going to get a goddamn hockey team? Arizona was just being rumored to be moving there too.
God, one of these days.
One
But,
of these days,
yeah, honestly,
Alice.
it's interesting to look at, because Mario Lemieux was one of the few, if not the only player ever, who was under player owner status. So he was in a real interesting spot, and his Wikipedia article covers it a little bit, but it was very, very, very bizarre to kind of look into that whole situation. But yeah, no, I mean, Mario absolutely saved that team. And, you know, it's one of those things where it is interesting, right? The idea of him kind of cashing out and maybe doing some other things, he would
I'm curious to see what he
do.
does.
It's,
I
you know,
got
it's just the...
Sorry, I'm getting nerd headspace. I'm like, I got to dig into the financials. How much did he buy for? What's the rumored price? I can't wait for it all to just be concluded because of that. And then like, yeah, what is he gonna do next? Like he's not done. I don't think involving himself in sports in some way.
Yeah, I mean, so Lemieux has had an ownership stake in the team with Lemieux Group LP since September of '99. So it does make you wonder. That club was technically in bankruptcy in '99. They were gone if he did not step up. I am trying to find the number that he bought the team for, but I seemingly can't find exactly what it is. Endo, if you could try to find that for us real quick. I honestly want to know, like, because I get that Sin's thinking that too, in terms of Sin's a guy who loves himself some investments, like, you know, how much money in 1999 compared to today, and then how much are they going to sell this for? Like, yeah, if he cashes out, Mario Lemieux,
Like,
it's going to make a good amount of money.
So
there's
exactly
appreciation combined with inflation values. I mean,
Just how much Yeah, just how much the Penguins sold for in 1999 when Lemieux's group bought the team.
So they might not even be listed, but I feel like most
It
times
might not be.
those stuff are public domain.
Yeah, I mean, he probably bought it for like $100 million or less.
Forbes said Lemieux bought the Penguins in 1999 for $107 million. Now I'm gonna go and adjust that for inflation. Give me a lot of fucking.
Yeah. So I mean, that team is gonna sell for what? Think about how much Seattle had to pay just to get the team into the league. I'm not gonna say they're gonna sell for $1 billion, but like at least like what?
I think it's got to be at least 5. Yeah.
500 million, 700 million,
Yeah.
minimum in that range.
Especially like I said, because you still have Crosby Malkin. Like this is the tippy top. You won a cup a few years ago. You got Crosby Malkin still. Yeah, they're starting to decline, with the playoff issues. But yeah, this is the plateau. Like it's probably not going to start going back up.
You're gonna like this. So, according to U.S. inflation calculator, because I'm assuming it's in USD because it was listed on Forbes. If in 1998 I purchased an item for $107 million, then in 2021 that same item would cost $181,564,558.28 for a cumulative rate of inflation of 69.7.
So if you sell,
Nice.
so in 99, if you sold today for like 500 million, that's effective. Let's 5-6. Let's go in the middle of 600 because we were saying 5 to 7. We'll round up the inflation to 200 million. You're essentially getting a 300% return on a large scale investment like that in a couple decades, which
on top of winning 3 Stanley Cups in that time.
That's and you honestly don't go into owning hockey teams to make money, but probably during that time the team was profitable. He probably got some kickback.
I mean, they had
time.
a sellout streak of like 600 some odd games in the regular season, if not more than that. I don't want to downplay it.
We'll say he was probably getting we'll call them dividends throughout that entire time, and he's going to make a profit of 300%, which is that's no small thing. So I think that I mean you'll find a lot of stocks that do better than that, but I mean for the long term maybe not. And if you look to maybe the next closest comparison, which is perhaps real estate, that sort of turnaround is still pretty good. Depends on where you are, I guess. But I mean, fucking hell, that's
saves the team, wins cups, was already a hero forever in Pittsburgh and will continue to be, and now might potentially cash out and make a fortune.
Yeah.
So congratulations to the great-great-great-grandchildren of Mario Lemieux. You're already taken care of. The Arizona Coyotes won their second game of the season, their second win in 16 games by beating the St. Louis Blues 3-2. Kyle Capobianco scored his first. Barrett Hayton scored his first and second. Scott Wedgwood gets his second win of the season with the Coyotes, the only Coyotes goalie to get a win this year. Jordan Kyrou, his 7th, Torrey Krug, his 3rd for the Blues. Yeah, that's embarrassing for St. Louis now, isn't it? It's pretty much what it comes down to. You were the other team alongside the Seattle Kraken to lose to the Arizona Coyotes. That's a rough look. The San Jose Sharks beat the Minnesota Wild 4-1. Highlighted by Timo Meier getting his 6th, Hertl his 7th, Erik Karlsson his 3rd, Sin's favorite Mario Ferraro got his 2nd. Eriksson Ek scored his 6th for the Wild. Sin, any thoughts about that particular game if it stands out from Tuesday night?
Yeah, it was just a very good, complete game played. They were fit. They stood up for each other. There's, it was the full lineup kind of being back, and it's obviously they're kind of back against Colorado, but this is the game that they want to play. This was Sharks hockey that has been being preached for the last 2 years that is finally starting to come to light this year. They play for each other, they defend well, and start to have good enough scoring to do it. And Timo Meier is quietly having a killer year, by the way. He's above point per game, and that is something that the Sharks haven't had a whole lot of, is a forward being above point per game. So yeah, it's fantastic. Ferraro was sick, joined the rush. An incredible give and go between Meier and Couture, and then a beautiful saucer pass over the defenseman's stick and finished off by Ferraro. It was just a good game, and I love the physicality. I loved everyone standing up for one another, and Dumba's hit pissed me off, but it was clean.
I did miss that particular highlight. I'll have to.
Yeah, he
I'll have to look that
crushed
up.
Barabanov. I think people are still feeling a little salty about the headshot that Calgary's player put on him. I can't remember who the hell it was. I think
Probably
Zadorov.
Goodbranson.
No, I think it was Zadorov. Is he there or Zaitsev?
It's one of those two.
Zadorov or Zaitsev? Yeah, it was. Yeah. Anyway,
It'd be Zadorov
it was a
over
fucking
Zaitsev,
headshot and didn't even get a review. Nothing. You know, the last time a player was suspended for an offense committed against the Sharks.
2005.
Seems like it. Yeah, 2016.
I mean, it's clean hockey.
Yeah, clearly.
Biased.
Clearly. You know, we
There's
played
no
the
way in
Blues
5
in
years
Vegas. Yeah, I know.
Oh my
Fucking
god.
hell.
Yep, that's one of those really rough stats, huh?
Yeah, pisses me off.
The Winnipeg Jets beat the Edmonton Oilers 5-2. The Jets moved up to 9-3-3 on the year, looking very good, despite, again, a bottom 3 PK, apparently. What the fuck? The Oilers now 11-4-0 on the year. For the Jets, Ehlers got his 4th, Dubois his 9th, Kyle Connor his 12th. I can't escape it.
It makes me laugh even more now. Like now that I know the context.
In an alternate reality, I have a Kyle Connor Bruins jersey hanging up behind me, if not wearing it at all times. Nice, warm, and cozy.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But does he play Bruins hockey, Tougie?
Yeah.
God, does he fit the
Does he
culture?
fit the culture?
Oh man.
Okay. Anyway, let's wipe the tears aside. Leon Draisaitl scored his 16th and 17th goals of the season. Connor McDavid recorded assists on both of them, so McDavid now has a 15-game point streak, which is a career high. For Draisaitl, this comes from Jason Greger on Twitter. Draisaitl is the only active NHL player to score 16 goals in his first 15 games. Ovechkin, Matthews, and Pasternak have all had 15 and 15, but never 16 and 15. And after review, Draisaitl now has 17 goals in 15. His 33 points in 15 games is the 5th highest total since 1992.
What's McDavid at? His point
I don't
total.
know, but I'm thinking, when do we start talking about how Leon Draisaitl actually carries Connor McDavid? No.
Oh boy.
Dude, they're both just so stupidly good. My God. And I put out a tweet, right, on the Twitters talking about their defense. Because as people know, if you follow what I do, obviously, and I do know that we have some people who are just like, I don't even really know your YouTube stuff, but I found the show and I like it, which is awesome. I put out a tweet talking about the Oilers' defense because I'm in the process of roster editing, of course, and I got to Edmonton's defense. And again, I look at the outright stats, I look at analytics, and have a formula so that there's no bias whatsoever. And that Oilers' defense, I still cannot figure out how they put Nurse, Russell, Keith, Barry, Cuckoo, Cece, and shout out to Bouchard is good, but how do you supplement the 2 best players in the NHL right now with that defense? And
System.
you know, you asked the question. Connor McDavid has 29 points in 15 games. Leon Draisaitl has 33 in 15.
Good God.
Draisaitl has 17 goals in 15 games. The next highest, Ovi, Kreider, Kyle Connor, with 12. Leon Draisaitl right now is on pace to win the Rocket Richard. He's on pace to win, the
Art
points
Rocks,
race.
yeah.
Wow. It's unreal. It is absolutely unreal how good those two are. It's insane.
20 million
And I mean,
between them,
Yeah.
which is
McDavid plays
underpaid.
22 and a half minutes a night so far. Draisaitl plays 23 minutes a night. So,
That is a steal of a contract of a deal. Get those guys for 20 mil? Are you kidding me?
I mean,
like the two
yeah.
top
First-
and
producers in the
shout
NHL?
out as well. I'm looking at the points. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is 8th in the league right now with 19 points in 15 games.
good for him.
Solid.
I mean, 3 Oilers in the top 8. Although, it's completely off topic, but obviously we could sit here and wax poetic about Draisaitl. The top scorers in the league right now by points. Draisaitl, 33. McDavid, 29. Ovechkin, 26. And then Evgeny Kuznetsov with 21. Again, he's got to go. You haven't heard a thing about Evgeny Kuznetsov this year. He has shut the hell up and is just playing hockey, and it's been the best thing for his career. No controversies or anything yet, and quietly is having a fantastic season. And then there's Troy Terry in fifth, also with 21 points.
Oh.
Ridiculous. Connor with 20, Marchand 19, Nugent Hopkins 19. And then there's a four-way tie for ninth with 18 points, and it's Ryan Getzlaf, 17 assists in 17 games with a goal. JT Miller with 18, Andrei Svechnikov, and Lucas Raymond with 18 points on the year as well. So this season's been so fun to watch so far. It's ridiculous.
If only Timo didn't miss fucking COVID time, man. I feel like he'd be up there with the pace he's on.
There you go.
Definitely.
He missed like five games, I think.
Well, I can sort it by point per game.
Yeah, do that real quick. I just want to see. I want to see if my
Timo Meier is ninth in point per game total.
Yep.
There you go. Oh my God. So obviously this doesn't really count, but it's Draisaitl McDavid, and then third is Drew Doughty because he only played 4 games before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So actually, if I were to filter this by, let's say most guys have played 15 games. If I filter this by 10 games, right? I feel like that's fair to say someone's played the majority of their team's games. Meier is sixth in point per game, behind Draisaitl McDavid, Ovechkin, Marchand, and Patrick Kane.
He's quietly having a very, very good year in San Jose, which is exactly what he needs and the team needs.
Yeah. The Dallas Stars beat the Detroit Red Wings 5-2. Again, the Stars' kind of key players are heating up a little bit. Suter got a goal, Ben, Hintz, and 2 goals for Jason Robertson. Jake Ottinger got the win in goal.
Is it Ottinger?
Which,
I thought it was
Edinger.
Ottinger.
I believe so.
Oh, okay, fuck.
Is it Edinger? I've always heard Ottinger.
It's Schrader when you see the OE like that in Schrader or Schroeder. Yeah, but
whatever.
Who the fuck knows?
Regardless, Dallas's goaltending situation still fascinates me because they have him, Hadobin, Holtby, and then but Ben Bishop was like in training camp, but there's still no word. Like he's eligible to come back, but he hasn't. So they technically have like 4 NHL caliber goalies. I don't know what the hell's going on there. For the Red Wings, though, we already. We mentioned Lucas Raymond earlier, but like Philip Zadina got his 3rd, Larkin his 8th. Moritz Seider, even though he didn't get a goal, he did absolutely destroy Michael Raffl on a clean hit. So in case Red Wings fans didn't like Moritz Seider enough. And Alex Nedeljkovic had a save of the year contender on Jacob Peterson of all people. But Alex Nedeljkovic that the Hurricanes said nah to, which has worked. But again, much like our Habs conversation earlier, just because it works out doesn't mean it was a smart thing to do.
It was a terrible thing to do.
God, just a horrible move. And again, I said it worked out. Like the Hurricanes are next up. They're 12-2 on the season after beating the Golden Knights 4-2. For the Hurricanes, at least Antti Ranta got the win. Like he hasn't missed significant time after the Lomberg incident, thankfully.
Thank God.
Vegas at 9-7. No sympathy from Sin, obviously, but they're hanging in there despite 1,000 injuries.
I wanted them to be below 500 at this point with all their injuries because that would give me hope that they, for some reason, missed the playoffs or something. But it's not going to happen.
And then they get a 1st-round pick that they trade away for some other guy.
Gotta love it.
So in the final game on Tuesday, before again we move into an abbreviated Wednesday, the Anaheim Ducks beat the Washington Capitals 3-2 in overtime. Ryan Getzlaf hit 1,000 career points on a Cam Fowler goal. Troy Terry as well extended his point streak to 15 games on that particular goal as well. And then Trevor Zegras with his 5th and 6th of the season threw a stick over the boards again as an OT celly. It's awesome. And with that, the Ducks had won their 8th consecutive game. It was their 1,000th win in franchise history. And as of that day, at least, they were 1st in the Pacific, 1st in the West, and, 1st in the West wouldn't make... Well, actually, maybe with the overtime points, they were ahead of Edmonton. And 3rd overall in the league in points. So, 10-4-3 Anaheim. Ride the wave right now for all the Ducks fans. Enjoy this. You might not end up making the playoffs, but they've been kind of that team we've pointed out to say they're tough to beat. And they're a really fun team to watch. And we talk about that Calder race. I think Trevor Zegras might just be that 3rd name by the end of the season that gets mentioned with Raymond and Seider.
There's another really funny thing that happened in that game. They had Getzlaf mic'd up. And at this one point, like after a play was whistled dead as he was skating around the net, God, I forget his name. Whoever the fuck Crosby
Martin
did the thing
Faravari?
with. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Faravari. just eats shit and goes into the boards and gets us like, whoa! And then like he's back on the bench. He's like, oh man, that kid just died right now. He's like, I looked at the ref. I was like, yeah, I didn't touch him.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you guys through the group chat. It's funny as hell.
Oh God. For the Caps, Garrett Pylon. If it's Pylon, that's an unfortunate name for a hockey player.
Yeah.
But he got his first career NHL goal.
Hey, it's Dion.
Tom Wilson scored his fifth. It's Pylon.
It's Dion the Peon.
There you go.
Sorry.
So yeah, man, things looking good for the Ducks. And then moving on to Wednesday. I mean, there's three interesting talking points here. We'll go out of order. We'll start off with the least interesting game, and that was that the Chicago Blackhawks beat the Seattle Kraken 4-2.
Yay.
Lol.
The Blackhawks are currently hiring a new public relations manager. Either of you want the job?
You can pay me any of the money to deal with that trash fire. Holy crap.
Oh my God.
Oh God, that's ridiculous.
I'd apply, but they demand 4 to 6 years of experience, which you might want more than that to be able to put out this dumpster fire.
What kind of experience, though? That's the question.
Oh God, I don't know. Go look it up. Hey, shout out to Seth Jones, who has twice as many goals as Adam Boqvist with 2.
Are they both on
That's
the
working
power
out
play?
well for you.
Are they both on the power play? I feel like they're both on the power play.
Probably. Patrick Kane scored his 6th. Alex DeBrincat scored his 9th, and we will continue to sing the praises of Alex DeBrincat. He also beat the shit out of Yanni Gord. Alex DeBrincat's the next captain of this team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you make Seth Jones the captain of this team over Alex DeBrincat, fire your organization into the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Alex DeBrincat is the face of that organization now and should continue to be. I will continue to stand one Alex DeBrincat.
Once again, showed the best leadership throughout all that shit. Even though it wasn't there for it, literally tried to take responsibility for it. That's a leader. Did they ever interview Seth Jones on that by any chance? I heard nothing out of him.
I don't recall, so I won't give an opinion on Jones
Anyway,
in that matter.
Not necessarily
either
his
way.
fault, like that they didn't ask him, but yeah. Again, I feel like they're probably going to give it to Seth Jones. I really feel like that's probably going to happen.
It's not a good call.
It's a horrible call. Yeah, I didn't see the fight. God damn, I missed all the fights. I'm going to have to catch that.
Yeah, it was an interesting fight, too. Gore did score in that game. He got his 4th of the year. Jared McCann is 6th. The Kraken are down to 4-11-1. You know, you can look good on paper defensively and with goaltending, and at the end of the day, your goaltending shits the bed, and
I forgot your
boy,
prediction.
how much of it comes down to coaching with Dave Haxtell, I'm not sure, but if their plan was to not be good this year, you did it, Ron.
Yeah.
Good job.
You fucked up the draft, but you still got what you wanted. It's like when you do a math equation, when you have to do a math equation, and someone says, "Oh, you're doing it the new way. You're doing it the old way. You're supposed to do it the new way." I'm like, "What fucking new way? It's math. I got the end result the same fucking way. What are you talking about?" It's like
Still, it's going to be one of the biggest questions. What if, just what if, Seattle was willing to play a ball a little bit more and lower their asking prices? What if they took Tarasenko? What if they took Carey Price? Like, just, God.
what if they did
I
short
don't
division
understand.
instead of long division? Yeah.
Fair enough. Do we want to end with the Canucks or the Kings? I'll leave it up to you two. Which one do we want to talk about?
Probably
Talk
the
about
Canucks.
the
We'll
End with the
end up-
Canucks again?
Yeah, that's the bigger
Okay,
dumpster
so-
fire.
The Washington Capitals beat the LA Kings 2-0.
Yay.
The Caps, again, I just mentioned how good Ovi and Kuznetsov are. They're 10-2-5 on the year, so the Caps are looking pretty damn good. But aside from the fact that like Ilya Samsonov got a shutout, Garnet Hathaway's heating up. He had another 2-goal game, his 4th and 5th on the year. There were 2 things to talk about the LA Kings. First and foremost, their chromed out buckets, which were hideous.
Oh yeah, they're
Just hideous. I like the jerseys that they have because it's Gretzky era, and those are nice. If you had to pick, though, the silver chrome buckets of the Kings or the gold chrome buckets
Silver.
of the Vegas Golden Knights.
I would do the silver one because it's less bright,
Yeah.
and it gives me slightly less will to just go outside and step into traffic. Yeah, crypto.com arena, what the fuck's that about, by the way?
Oh, so you haven't heard?
Is
Yeah,
that,
about
is that
the crypt?
Staples Center?
Yes.
Let's
So,
go.
I'm gonna make
It has
an
been known as
NFT
the
of myself pissing on the chrome helmet on the front steps of Crypto.com Arena, and then I'm gonna
They
sell
pissing
it
on
to
the
some
moon.
fucking moron for 25,000 if I
God.
can just convince him that it has value when it doesn't.
Yeah, it's the piss of Sin for the Win Productions. Noted Twitch streamer Sin for the Win.
Yeah, once a week Twitch streamer pissing on a bucket.
October 17th of 1999, the Staples Center opened. It has been known as the Staples Center for the entirety of that time. On Christmas Day 2021, after a reported $700 million naming rights deal, it will become the Crypto.com. I do believe it was the Crypto.com Arena, yes.
Who
so,
did it? Some fucking nerd with a
With a JPEG?
portfolio of Ponzi scheme?
With a JPEG.
So Crypto.com, their Wikipedia is like 2 mini paragraphs. It was founded 5 years ago in Singapore. Crypto.com is a trademark of blah, 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 a company incorporated in Malta providing a cryptocurrency exchange app that currently has over 10 million users. They also take up sponsorship deals in F1, Serie A, soccer in Italy, UFC, and with the Montreal Canadiens. So, Crypto.com, I get people are
Incorporated
memeing
in
it to be like,
Malta.
we'll call it the Crypt and it'll be not so bad. Like, I get the idea of not getting worked up over naming rights. Like, a
Call it
lot
the
of people
Crypts.
still call the Sky Dome the Sky Dome. People will still call it.
just heard sea walking in the building.
Motherfucker, we're in LA. Why the hell not? Rolling
Oh,
60s,
man.
bitch. Let's go.
Bro, you got Coachella Valley Firehawks. You got fucking the Crypt. If they don't play their games in the fucking Crypt, you guys are doing everything wrong completely. I want holograms of Tupac. I want holograms of Snoop Dogg. I want Spider-Man on top of the arena going around doing circles. I want everything.
I am not one to get like super worked up about naming rights of the arenas. Like, we'll still meme it to death
I'll meme
because
it.
it's
I'm just
horrible,
memeing right now, kids. Don't worry.
horrible name. But at the end of the day, it's a god awful name. People will still likely call it Staples Center.
It's legit
I think people got-
Crypto.com. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Go all
I
out.
mean, it's so what's worse, Crypto.com or Jobbing.com Arena, which is what the Coyotes Arena was named
Jobbing.
for a long
That
time.
was Joe Bing at first. I was like, oh, just jobbing? Oh, okay, cool.
Ask
No, it's jobbing, as in, hey,
Jeeves
find yourself a job.
Arena.
Ask Jeeves Arena.
Dated myself horribly
Yeah.
with that.
Oh, the ICQ Arena.
Oh.
It's coming back.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Why didn't they just
Boy, you
name
thought
it like Hodel?
You thought MySpace was passe. We're going to name this after Friendster.
Should have named it like Shiba Inu Arena. Just go all out, or like
Just go, like,
Lazy
Oh my
Eight or
Elon
whatever the heck
Coin
it is.
Arena, whatever the fuck.
Oh my god.
Something ridiculous.
Christ, it's awful.
Oh, man.
It's
What
absolutely
was one
awful.
of the ones that
My
was
God.
renamed? It was like,
Welcome to
it
the
was like-
future, though. The metaverse
That's what it
is
was.
gonna swallow us.
Yeah. What was the
Yeah,
one?
right?
It was like just an NBA team had like their own like it's like not like Booster Juice Arena. It was something stupid like
Oh,
that.
it's the KFC Yum Center.
Nice.
What team plays there? What team?
In fairness, I don't think a team plays there, but it's in Louisville, Kentucky.
Of course, it's a
that's like where
at least
their
cool.
basketball team
Topical.
plays. Oh, God, the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky.
That's cool and topical, at least.
Smoothie King Center. That's
Yeah,
what
it's
it
the
is.
Smoothie King Center for the
the
Pelicans too.
fuck?
Nice. That kind
Oh,
of sounds
man.
cool.
Smoothie
though.
King Center.
Oh man. That's
Anyway.
So yeah,
great.
shout out to the Crypt. And the final game on Wednesday that we wanted to talk about and to wrap up this podcast, the Colorado Avalanche beat the Vancouver Canucks 4-2. Again, another team that's doing okay after the injuries. The Avs at 7-5-1, but the Canucks have had one of the worst starts to a season in a long time. They are 5-10-2. In this particular game, Rantanen scored his 6th, Makar his 3rd, Landeskog also got his 6th. Nazem Kadri scored his 5th, and then JT Miller immediately shoved him from behind, face first into the goalpost. I'm shocked Nazem Kadri wasn't suspended for getting his own face shoved into the goalpost. Incredibly dirty by JT Miller. But this comes from Sportsnet Stats on Twitter. Canucks allowed the opening goal for the 13th time this season,
Out of 17.
which is the most in the NHL. Out of 17,
Jesus.
13 times they've been scored on first. Connor Garland scored his fourth. Tucker Poolman, who still should have been suspended, scored his first.
Yeah. Asterisk.
But in the aftermath of this, right, because this has been the talking point, ownership essentially, number one, held a meeting with Jim Benning to essentially try to politic their own fan base, to be like, hey guys, calm down, and essentially also requested local media to tone down the negativity surrounding the team. And I want to give Rick Dollywall credit on his show, Donnie and Dolly. He went in on Canucks ownership, essentially saying, well, how about you give us a product that we can be positive about? We weren't negative when they were going to the Cup in 2011. We weren't negative here and there. Again, that's how you know, like, they are in full meltdown.
Yeah.
It's not just the fans being like, oh my God, can you just do something? Like, get rid of Jim, get rid of Travis Green, do something. It is now ownership essentially saying, guys, calm down. Like, I've talked with Jim Benning. We, the Aquilinis, we care. I've talked to Jim Benning, and we're working through this to get everything back on track. And the media, they're being way too negative. They got to tone it down. We're going to figure it out. Like, that is full meltdown mode.
Yeah. And
that is how you know that situation is rough, is when they're calling out the media for being too negative.
they also got boofed. Did you guys see it?
What happened?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I did, yes. So, Booth, what is it? Booth's...
It's
God,
not.
what is
He
the,
changed his at because his old account got fucking banned.
yeah, so that's why I don't know the exact...
It's like, I think it's Mr. Booth 07 now.
Oh, Mr. Booth.
Yes.
What
Yeah,
did he do?
so, for those who don't know this account, it is the greatest troll. It's Mr. Booth _7.
Okay.
Well, at least that was the old one. That was the one that was suspended. Son of a bitch.
07. I think is the one.
He is a master troll.
Yeah.
Just a master. And he changed his name to mimic the account of the Canucks owner, at least one of them. I think it was Francesco Aquilini. To the point where the owner of the Canucks banned him on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's just like that's the only fun that Canucks fans can have right now, is knowing that one of their own was able to successfully troll the owner of the team. We ended the last show talking about how bad it was in Vancouver, and somehow it got worse in just a matter of days.
And for those out there who want to follow this mastermind, it is at Mr. Booth 07. That's a 07. So there you go.
I'm just looking at it right now.
Just
Oh,
confirm.
God.
It's
Just
he got Barstool with submitting them videos and having, like, you know how, like, there's a name up for, like, whoever submitted the video, and they kept saying, like, really fucking hilarious shit about Barstool. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Video submitted by We Condone Sexual Assault or something of that nature. And
that was so
Yeah.
wild. What a fucking legend. Holy.
Yeah, absolute G.
I love this tweet from Mr. Booth, actually, and we can end the show on this one. Asked about the Canucks' struggles, Jim Benning rips open his suit to reveal a T-shirt stating, "I'm not going to comment on that right now."
Oh, my
Canucks
God.
fans, some Bruins fans always bring up 2011 to taunt or whatever. I have no issue with the Canucks. I was somewhat of a Canucks fan once they got rid of Bertuzzi, because of guys like the Sedins and Marcus Naslund and everything like that. And again, if it wasn't the Bruins in 2011, I would have been rooting for the Canucks in that final, most likely. I just hope it gets better for you, because no fan base wants to it sucks for any fan base to undergo this, where it's just pure apathy.
Yeah.
Like, please, God, just do something. Because, yeah, you were right to have hope and optimism heading into the season that they wouldn't be trash, because they shouldn't be trash. But for one reason or another, they are, and they seem content with the status quo, and everybody else can see it, but ownership, see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil, nothing. Like, we're fine, everything's fine, as the Titanic is going down. I'm rooting for you, but man, if they haven't done anything now, it's like, how much worse does it have to get before something happens? And I thought we were at that point already, and nothing's happened. So I don't know what to tell you. So with that, gentlemen, we'll bring this show to a close. I enjoyed this one. And I'm intrigued to see what will happen this weekend because I'm going to have a lot of research to do. I'm going to be out of town this weekend, so it'll be fun to try and catch up on everything, which means this is going to be the busiest weekend of the season so far in terms of things happening, I'm sure. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to next Monday already. Endo, have you been practicing? Tell the people where they can find you.
At Endo Mills on Twitter. I'm the guy. On all my social medias, really just go Endo Mills. That's where I'm at. I stream weekdays 1 to 4-ish, maybe. I don't know. I skipped streaming this week because I haven't really feeling that well. Focus on your mentals, everybody. Make sure those things are good because once those things go, it's chaos.
Sin.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at SinFTWProd and on YouTube and Twitch at Sin for the Win Productions. And yeah, I do stuff. And I don't have something to say after that.
All good. Everybody, again, thank you very much for listening and or watching. If you're not subscribed already to the Tougie Take Podcast YouTube channel, go check it out. You can watch us in video form if you don't. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Have a good weekend. Enjoy some hockey. Unless you're a Canucks fan, just
breathe.
Do the best you can.
Just breathe.
Hope and seethe. That's all it is.
Just breathe. We will see you all next week. Goodbye.